only, fuel only, go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
From the Mountain Mornings, and man, it is a beautiful day. Charcoal is being cooked right now, and man, we've got an awesome driver. You know, this young man's name is Lawless.
Lawless.
Wow. And I asked him before we came back, I said, hey, that is an awesome name. How did you come in? And he said, well, it's my great grandmother's maiden name.
Well, that's very cool. That is a cool name, and of course now at Talladega. So talk about your weekend so far.
So far, I mean, all we did yesterday was sit around and wait and then qualify for a lap. So we didn't qualify the greatest, but at super speedways it doesn't really matter as long as you make the show. So we're in it. We're going to be in the draft, and I didn't get to have a magic 8-ball before this to see whether or not
shake it
we'd make it, but who knows? It's all just kind of up in the air right now.
Man,
talk about your experience at Talladega or super speedways. Talk a little bit about and talk about your racing career, how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, so I started in legend cars in California, and then moved to late models in California, and then did a little bit of Trans Am TA2 for a year, and then did a little bit of ARCA, and then COVID hit, and then now I'm here. So did a couple of truck races last year, and now full-time this year. So I've only been on super speedways twice prior to this, and last year at Talladega was my first time. So I think I'll be a little less wide-eyed this time, ideally.
Yeah.
But it's complete chaos out there. It's, in theory, easy because you're just being wide open and holding the wheel as straight as you can. But once you get air ripping around those trucks, they're so sensitive and they're floating around. Like they barely feel like they're in the racetrack at all. So it feels like the body is swaying around. It's just pulling you one way or the other, and it's hectic.
Man, so when you got that call that you were going to go full time for the truck, how did that feel for you?
It felt great. I mean, I was excited. Like, get to go to all these tracks that I've been watching for years. Daytona and Talladega especially, because those are like the races that, if you're not in NASCAR, you know about Daytona and Talladega. So those are
tracks that you play like on a video game, and you're actually driving them now.
Yeah, it's some crazy stuff. But I mean, once you're in it though, it's business and it's work. You gotta. I mean, it's still a fantastic time, but the grandeur kind of, once you realize it's real, then the fantasy of it kind of goes away, and you're like, all right, it's business now.
Yep.
Like I've got work to do.
So who were some of your mentors coming up? Who did you look up to, and who did you like when you were coming up and getting ready to go? Like, man, I want to be like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Or I want to be,
The two that I always really liked growing up were Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart.
Tony.
Yeah. So
pretty good guy. A little success there.
Yeah. So ideally, get up to as close to their level as I can, as I'm capable of.
Is that the long-term goal for you? I mean, obviously it is. So.
Yeah.
Man.
Talk about the transition from your other forms that you ran as you transitioned on up the ladder. You come from ARCA into the truck series. Talk about the transition from the car into the truck and how big of a difference that's been for you.
They're really different. I mean, I don't have a tremendous amount of experience in ARCA because COVID kind of shut us down. Yeah. But just from what like I recall, the ARCA cars are way floatier than the trucks. Like they travel a lot more. It's a lot more body roll. They're on less of a platform, it feels like, and once they get on the track, they're kind of set into their platform. But if it's a braking track or anything like that, it feels like the nose is diving like 6 feet every time you touch the brakes. The trucks just feel they're a lot more like sealed, set in the ground. But because I never raced ARCA on any real big tracks, the movement of the rear end is something that I'm still not used to. So the trucks move around a lot.
What did you think about Bristol, the dirt?
Oh, Bristol dirt. I mean, that was my first ever dirt race.
Yeah.
So
How was that?
it was interesting.
Everybody says that.
Hey, I'm going to take you back to where you were just talking about the ARCA cars being a little more floaty from what you remember, and then the trucks just seeming to be a more stable vehicle. And I know this is not comfortable, but is that why it's more comfortable when we see you guys here at Talladega fanning out 4 and sometimes even 5 wide? How does the truck feel in that environment?
Well, I mean, just from yesterday, just with the wind blowing, it felt floaty, and I think you could see on qualifying.
Ooh.
On qualifying, all the trucks were kind of drifting around, especially when you went out early because of the wind. And it was just holding the wheel and letting the truck go wherever it wanted. And so I can only imagine what it's going to be like today. But I think once everybody's in the draft, and it's not going to get much worse than it is. It's just people ripping your air and trying to get you sideways or plowing or whatever it might be. So,
and it's kind of hard to actually get a feel when you only have one lap.
Yeah.
I like to go out there and see what I can do, what I can't do, but you weren't allowed to do that because it's one lap.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, luckily for us, it's not really a traditional handling track, so I don't need to have a great feel for the truck or what it's going to do, because I already know that once we get in the draft, anything that I felt yesterday is going to be out the window.
Absolutely.
With the fact of the way they're moving around a little bit, are you kind of one who kind of likes to drift back a little bit and let things kind of settle in before you start getting real racy, or do you just go ahead and try to stay up as near the front as you can?
I've tried staying in the back twice, and I've gotten wrecked doing it twice.
Crazy.
So I've been telling my team that I'm going to drive up as close to the front as I can, and I'd rather look cool for 5 laps than stay in the back for 90.
And that's what I think it was Joey Logano in the Cup Series was saying about the folks in the back. He said those in the back aren't really in the action. But then, of course, Ross Chastain said, well, that's not necessarily true, because I'm going to hold back to let all that craziness happen, then I'm going to be there at the end. So it's kind of like, what like you said, I'm going to be there in the middle of it. I'd rather go out in the bang and be there in the middle than I would be back there in the back.
Yeah.
I guess it's driver preference, I guess.
Yeah, I've tried it twice the one way. I need to switch something up.
You're like,
Maybe
I
we
drive the
can't get a
truck,
finish.
you guys change the tires. Just let me drive the truck. That's my job.
Well, it's going to be an exciting race today. I know that. I know you guys are looking
yeah.
forward to it. We got beautiful weather, and I know the fans are going to be entertained. And I mean, I've said for a lot of times the trucks put on, in a lot of ways, the best show because they're so racy. I mean, and again, you see in 3 and 4 wides coming out of these turns. It may not feel that great for a driver, but from a fan standpoint, it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have the least amount of time out of everybody, so you can't afford, even if you are riding around, as soon as stage 3 rolls around,
it's time to go.
Start rolling up, which is when they start crashing anyway. So all you've done for hanging in the back is deny yourself TV time and stage points. Yeah. So,
I mean, when you get to that, when you feel like the big, can you feel it in your can you sense it when it's coming? I mean, I know they say that you can feel the electricity or see somebody's doing. You're like, oh, this is not going to go good.
It's one of the things where you're like, they're gonna wreck soon. I just don't know exactly when that's gonna be.
But it's coming.
But it's coming.
That's almost the old saying, oh, heck, what a wreck. Oh, crap, we're in it. Well, talk about your sponsor. We always like to get that into the Auto Park. What is Auto Park?
So, Auto Park is
the Titan dryers, yeah. Good thing we don't need those today.
Yeah.
That would make for a long day.
Oh, my God. Racing on Monday? No. No banks.
That just messes up your whole week.
Yeah. But Auto Park It is fully automated parking systems. So like you drive into like a regular garage type deal and you get out, answer liability questions like it's not on, it's not in, or it's in gear, it's in park, whatever. People aren't in it. And you get out and you do whatever it is that you do, and the system takes your car, pallet, parks it wherever, and then when you want it back, you wave a key fob.
Wow, it's like a vending machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That's pretty
That's
cool.
a
And
good.
it's full, there's similar structures there, but they're all like operator. They have an operator and they're hydraulic, but ours is fully electric and there's no operator. So once you turn it on, you just let the thing ride.
Wow,
And-
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like going to a gas station. And there's no attendant. Like
yeah, the computer figures it out.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
See, I love the sponsors in the sport because we had a driver last year that had one of the charging units, and it was for electric cars, but it does it so much faster than the ones you'll find just sitting outside of the post office or whatever. And that was pretty interesting. So
Now, where
that's a good deal.
where can you find an auto park it?
Yeah.
There's 3 in LA and 1 in Detroit, and we have projects everywhere.
Everywhere.
But those
Expanding.
are the really
Well, that-
rapidly
Yeah,
expanding.
I'm not driving to LA, but I would like to go do it just to
Yeah,
see.
that would be kind of
I'd say because Lawless told me this is the lawless thing to do.
You can see it, like demos of it and videos and stuff on autoparkit.com.
Ah, there we go.
We're going to go check that out.
I am going to check that out.
Check that out. And you can put a link on the website. People can check it out on the website just to.
We'll do it on Facebook. We'll go, hey, look, check this out. This is what Lawless was talking about this morning.
Perfect.
Ah, love it.
Well, hey, Lawless, thank you so much for taking time to stop by and see us this morning. Good luck today in
Thank
the
you.
Silverado 250, and keep it up front, man.
That's the plan. Thank you guys for having me.
And I'm going to be going, man, Lawless got to pull this out. If I see you in the front, I'll be like, I met that guy. He's Lawless. That's great. I'm going to talk about that forever.
You need the hat.
I need the hat.
You're gonna have to get the
I'm
hat.
going to have to go to the merchandise stand.
And get you a hat. Absolutely. Lawless, thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
All right, we're going to grab a break. We'll come back and wrap things up from here at the Talladega Super Speedway. It is the Championship Racing Network on the new 95.1 The Mountain.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back. Fuel only, fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back here live from the Talladega Super Speedway. No, it's not Steve West. It's not Matt Nicholson. It's Grady Sapp alongside Robert Grantham. We're filling in on this part of the show for the guys as they're up in the tower being famous and doing their celebrity stuff and everything.
We're famous?
No, they're famous. You know, we're left to do the grunt work while they go get in the tower.
Oh. I like the air quotes. The tower. Yeah.
I'm not jealous.
No, not you.
I'm fine with it. I'm good with it.
Not you. You would not be jealous
at
at
all. I
all.
don't hold a grudge or anything about that. Interesting in the media center a few minutes ago, Chase Elliott, the entire conversation was about the car. And Chase uttering some very thought-out frustration about where they are with it. And he kind of harkened back to the fact that they had so much time to crash test them and do the different things with them. He said because you had a whole extra year because of COVID, so had an enormous amount of time to figure that out. And he said that, you know, we have a lot of smart people that work on these projects, and he said he's disappointed that they're in the box that they're in with the car in terms of the guys having problems. And Matt and them, and we talked about it earlier, the quotes yesterday from a lot of the drivers were, and they've said it all year, it's too stiff. And Matt's talking about the fact that it's just basically a kit car where they're clipping on these different parts, and there is no give in that. That's one of the things that makes them so durable. But it's something NASCAR will figure out. But the drivers right now kind of a little antsy with the concussions that we've had.
Well, when you saw the Kurt Busch qualifying, when he wrecked in qualifying at Pocono, you ask yourself, well, he just backed into it. But I mean, you could hear it go boom. Yeah. But then a couple of days later, you find out he had a concussion. Mm-hmm. So you're thinking to yourself, wow, how could that happen? Yeah. Then Alex Bowman has it last week at Texas. On Race Hub, I was able to listen to the story, and they showed it slow motion. Actually, Brad did, and you don't see it in real time, but when you slow it down, you can see that he hit the wall. Yeah. His neck jerked forward. His legs come off the pedals and off that, and his hand came off the steering wheel. But you watch it fast, and you don't see that. But when you slow it down, you can actually see it. So, is it a concern? It is. And for Chase, I can understand that because he's in the playoffs, and and that affects a lot of things. Is NASCAR going to figure it out?
Sure.
They are.
Absolutely.
And the drivers made that aware to NASCAR. Yeah. Kevin Harvick has said it. Yeah. Denny Hamlin has said it and said, hey, the things that bother us are the safety concerns. But you don't know about the safety until it's sort of like you've got to do something in order to know what's wrong with it. You can't bring a resolution to something that you don't know is a problem.
Well, I've said it all year, and I will say it again now. The car is a home run. The next Gen 7 car is an absolute home run. The racing has been off the charts good. The 19 different winners in the season, it's been everything that NASCAR wants it to be. I think the only thing they've got to figure out, and really Matt addressed this earlier, when the front end's hitting, they kind of got that figured out. It's the when they hit with the right rear or whatnot, when you're having that impact, that's the trouble zone right now. Yes, they will figure it out. They'll get it tweaked and adjusted, and NASCAR does have a lot of smart people, and they are at the forefront of working and improving safety. They've done such an incredible job of that over the years. Chase said that it's gotten better and better and better and better through the years.
But the safety in the cars is just one issue. You've got drivers who are intentionally wrecking people just because they're angry, and you've got the experience doing it. You've also got the new rookies doing it. So all of that has to come into play as well. You have to be. I mean, I know it's probably hard to keep your temper, but you got to think you're in a moving vehicle, and you purposely you're taking the risk of hurting that individual or someone else on pit road. I mean, you got to take that into consideration. All that. I mean, there's a lot of implications on that.
Well, the pit road thing was exceptionally scary because you've got people out there on the ground on foot. In the caution lap, you probably hit it too.
Well, let's just be honest. He's not a Denny Hamlin fan, so it didn't really hurt G's feelings at all, by no means.
All of you who are Denny Hamlin fans.
But Junior said it good this morning. I was listening on an interview. He said, it's probably best that you don't admit it, because then people in NASCAR Tower didn't notice it. Nobody noticed it, but then it goes, why didn't anybody notice it? But if he had not admitted it, he just should have just not said anything about it.
And he fully admitted it in the interview.
And so,
you go.
That kind of...
That's a 25-point penalty, and now you're sitting back in 11th out of 12 drivers trying to make the cut. So basically, he's kind of now in a situation. He's got to win. He's got to either win this today or win next week in all likelihood to make it into.
There comes that win.
There's the win, yeah.
It's that win that the drivers don't like.
Yeah, that's.
I will say the 2022 season has been extremely amazing on the car.
Yes.
The drama that has unfolded, the unpredictability. I love seeing a new driver every week. That is extremely exciting. I love seeing individuals like the 7, Corey LaJoy, being up there, as well as seeing all the underdogs being able to be up there. Eric Jones getting a win. That is huge. Yeah. That brings back that's the kind of racing that I like to see. Now, instead of someone like I'm just saying it, Jimmy Johnson, who won 7 years in a row. That's the kind of that's the kind of thing that ruins the sport when you have the same person you already know. Then that makes it not exciting anymore to watch it. Well, why I want to watch it when Jeff Gordon's going to win all the time? I mean, it's just
you never know who's going to win that.
No, you don't.
Week, you don't know who's going to win. It's been a fun season. Well, I tell you what, that's going to do it for us today. We're going to get out of here, and of course, coming up bottom of the hour, MRN is going to take over with live coverage of qualifying for the Yellowwood 500.
Got a packed tomorrow. It's going to be packed.
It is going to be packed the rest of today. Silverado 250 for the Camping World Truck Series at 11. MRN's got that. And then at 2:30, it is the Sparks 300, the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Again, MRN with the coverage. Tonight, Georgia Bulldogs taking on Missouri. We'll have that at 6:30 for you. Tomorrow, as you said, packed. We're on the air at 9 o'clock.
Got Michael McDowell. We got Chris Busher. We got Coach Bruce Pearl here. I mean, we've got, Mike Bagley will be on with us. Lots of things going on tomorrow.
Yeah, we're packed tomorrow. So join us from 9 until noon, live coverage. And, of course, stay with us for MRN and live coverage of the Yellowwood 500 starting at noon tomorrow. All that action live from here at the Talladega Superspeedway. That's going to wrap it up this morning for us. And for Steve West, for Matt Nicholson, for John over here, the producer, Championship Racing Network here on the new 95.1 The Mountain, live from Talladega.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.